chosen one, lock your attention on this message right now. That quiet ache sitting behind your sternum, the one you've been trying to explain to yourself for days, stop running from it. The enemy is working overtime right now for one reason and one reason only. He knows what's about to be restored. It all shifts in the next 24 hours. The separation, the silence, the confusion between you and the one heaven assigned to your life. But here is what you need to understand before we go any further. It is not shifting because of coincidence. It is shifting because of what you have already done. Think back to that moment this week when you almost sent that message, when your fingers were on the screen and something inside you said, "Wait." You put the phone down. You swallowed the words. You stayed quiet when every emotion in your body was screaming at you to react. You thought that was weakness. You thought that was you losing ground. But that moment of restraint was not weakness. That was the move that changed the entire battlefield. You did not lose ground. You took it. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. The Holy Spirit did. This is a divine appointment, written before the foundations of the earth were laid, for this exact moment in your story. You are standing at the edge of something that cannot be undone. Stay until the very last second of this message, because in the next few minutes, I am going to hand you the legal decree that exposes the specific assignment the enemy launched against your connection. I am going to walk you through the exact moment your restraint became your greatest spiritual weapon. And at the end, I am going to give you a declaration that seals this season shut and opens the door your person has been standing at, unable to knock. Do not click away. Your future self and the future of this relationship are both asking you to stay, because if you leave now, you leave before the verdict is read. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like for you. The atmosphere has not just been quiet, it has been thick, heavy in a way you cannot describe to anyone around you without sounding like something is wrong with you. Maybe you have been going through the motions this week, sitting at your table, eating without tasting, staring at your phone waiting for a name to appear on the screen, feeling a pull in your chest so specific it almost has an address. Or maybe you woke up at 3 in the morning this week with that name already in your mouth, heart pounding for no reason you could place, lying in the dark wondering if they were awake too, wondering if they felt it. You feel suspended, like you were caught between what was and what was promised, like you have done everything right and the blessing is still sitting just out of reach, behind glass, visible but untouchable. And in that suspension, the enemy has been whispering a very specific lie into your mind. Listen to your thoughts right now. He is telling you that the distance between you and your person exists because of something you did. He is replaying a moment. Maybe it was the last conversation that ended too fast. Maybe it was the day you pulled back because you were exhausted and did not have anything left to give. Maybe it was that moment you walked away from an argument you could have won, and you have been wondering ever since whether walking away made you look like you did not care. The accuser is using that moment as a weapon. He is telling you that because of that silence, because of that withdrawal, because of that moment where you chose yourself, you have delayed the reunion. He is telling you the blessing has been postponed because of your failure. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose." All things, not the easy things, not the obedient things, all things. That argument, that silence, that moment you pulled back, that unanswered message, all of it is being worked together. Not despite you, through you. The promise is not that God will fix your mistakes later. The promise is that he has already woven every single one of them into the architecture of your breakthrough. The enemy is not replaying that moment because it was a failure. He is replaying it because it was a turning point, and he needs you to misread it before you realize what it activated. The heaviness you feel right now is not the weight of punishment. It is the weight of arrival. It is the pressure of something enormous pressing against the door from the other side, about to come through. Your person is not gone. They are not lost. They are facing something right now, a confrontation with their own truth, a moment of clarity so uncomfortable it feels like breaking, and it involves you. Not as the problem, as the answer. You did not disqualify yourself. You positioned yourself. That was not a mistake. That was a strategy. What you just heard wasn't entertainment. It was confirmation. And if you're ready to go deeper, the Chosen One's blueprint will show you exactly why God separated you before birth, why the attacks came so early, and what He's unlocking in this season. You'll also get the full audiobook version and a powerful bonus, activating your prophet mantle, for those carrying a prophetic fire they haven't yet learned to release. The link is waiting in the first pinned comment, but not for long. Now let that land, not just in your intellect, but deep within the chambers of your soul, resonating like a bell struck true in the quiet spaces of your being. Allow it to settle, transforming from mere words into a living, breathing truth that takes root and begins to reorient your perspective. Because what I'm about to walk you through next is not merely a theoretical construct, a spiritual abstraction, or a fleeting philosophical concept drawn from external observations. It is the raw, unvarnished anatomy of the intricate spiritual warfare that has been relentlessly running against your divine connection, targeting its very essence and trajectory. More crucially, it is the profound, undeniable anatomy of why this warfare, despite its apparent intensity and duration, is not just struggling, it is already, unequivocally, losing. This isn't a hopeful prediction. It is a declaration of spiritual fact, revealed in the very patterns of the opposition you have faced. Understand this foundational truth. The enemy, a master strategist in the unseen realm, does not waste his precious resources, his dark energy, or his insidious schemes on what is dead, barren, or without inherent value. He does not mobilize vast, sophisticated legions and allocate strategic demonic assignments against what has no future, against a destiny that is irrelevant to the kingdom of light. Every single sophisticated spiritual assault, every calculated maneuver, every whisper of doubt, every attempt to sow confusion or create division requires a target that is worth the colossal effort. The very intensity, the sheer magnitude, and the persistent, unyielding level of resistance you have experienced in this season is therefore not a damning reflection of how far you are from the glorious promise God has etched into your spirit. On the contrary, it is a blazing, undeniable reflection of precisely how breathtakingly close you stand to its manifestation. Let that truth truly sink in, vibrating through every cell of your being. Warfare, in its fiercest and most concentrated form, always escalates at the threshold. It doesn't primarily manifest in the desolate, unthreatening middle of the wilderness, where wandering is the norm and the destination still feels distant and intangible. No, the heaviest, most formidable opposition concentrates itself precisely at the edge of the promised land, at the very precipice of breakthrough, when the scent of victory is already in the air. This profound pattern is etched into the sacred narratives of old, a divine blueprint for understanding your current moment. Consider the epic journey of Joshua and the Israelites. The heaviest, most overwhelming opposition did not assault them during their 40 years of wandering through the desert, when the promise seemed a distant echo and their faith was tested by the mundane. It was when they were about to cross the Jordan, with the verdant fields of Canaan within sight, when the walls of Jericho stood as the final formidable barrier, that the spiritual and physical resistance intensified to its zenith. What you have been feeling, therefore, is not the devastating sting of abandonment nor the cold loneliness of being forgotten by heaven. It is, with profound certainty, opposition at the threshold, and opposition at the threshold, when seen through the lens of divine perspective, means you are standing exactly, strategically, precisely where you are supposed to be. You are not lost. You are at the precipice of entry. But here is where the revelation goes even deeper, penetrating layers of common misunderstanding, and this is what most people, caught in the tumult of external circumstances, miss entirely. You, like so many, have been instinctively, perhaps unconsciously, measuring the perceived health and vitality of this connection by the profound, often unsettling silence that has settled between you and your divine counterpart. You have been erroneously interpreting the quiet, the apparent lack of communication, the stillness in the space between you and your person, as irrefutable evidence of an ever-widening distance, as tangible proof of damage incurred, as undeniable validation that something vital broke irrevocably and has tragically not been, and perhaps cannot be, repaired. However, this perspective, born of human impatience and linear understanding, completely misreads the sacred language of the Spirit. Silence, specifically between two people who carry a profound divine assignment to one another, is never merely the absence of movement, the void of activity. No, it is the potent, pregnant, and purposeful presence of a sacred process. Consider the humble seed buried beneath layers of dark earth. It does not communicate its progress from underground. It does not send anxious updates, nor does it check in with regular reports on its germination. From the surface, to the casual observer, it appears to be in a state of absolute inert stillness. Yet, precisely in that quiet, hidden darkness, it is doing the most critical, transformative work of its entire existence, cracking open, pushing roots deeper, and preparing to sprout forth new life. Your person is not silent because they have inexplicably forgotten you, or because their feelings have withered into indifference. They are silent in this sacred season, precisely because something profound and delicate is being completed, forged, and refined within them. A spiritual recalibration, a deep-seated inner work that any premature word, any ill-timed communication, any external noise would not merely distract from, but profoundly interrupt and jeopardize. They are undergoing a divine metamorphosis, and the chrysalis of silence is essential for its sacred completion. And this profound understanding, this divine reframing, leads us directly to something that is going to fundamentally reframe the last several weeks, if not months, of your life, shifting your entire perception of your own actions. The conscious restraint you so powerfully exercised, that pivotal moment you described stirring within your spirit, that visceral urge to react that you consciously quelled, that decision where you deliberately put the phone down, where you swallowed the impulsive, burning reaction, where you chose the quiet strength of stillness over the frantic, often ineffective pull of human strategy. That, my friend, was anything but passive. That was not weakness nor inaction. That was, in fact, one of the most profoundly active, potent, and spiritually decisive choices a human being can make in the face of intense provocation. Most people, tragically, do not grasp the profound truth that self-governance in the spirit, the mastery over one's own impulses, emotions, and reactions, is, in its purest form, an act of spiritual warfare, often more powerful than any outward confrontation. Most people are conditioned to believe that doing something, anything, is always inherently more powerful, more impactful than doing nothing. Yet, the Apostle Paul, a man who understood the depths of spiritual power, not from the cushioned comfort of a palace, but from the raw, confining reality of a prison cell, understood something profoundly revolutionary about the transformative power of stillness, a power that the frantic, restless world has never truly been able to domesticate or disarm. he penned those iconic words, echoing through the centuries. I have learned, in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. Notice the profound weight of that single word, learned, not instantaneously received as a sudden revelation, not miraculously gifted as an unearned endowment, but diligently, painstakingly learned. This learning occurred not through aggressive action, but through the profound, often painful process of not reacting. It was forged through the rigorous, daily discipline of staying present in the silence, of abiding in the stillness, without allowing that silence to dictate, distort, or write the narrative for him. Your restraint, therefore, was not a helpless surrender to circumstances. It was, in its essence, the highest, most sophisticated form of spiritual authority you have exercised in this entire season, a testament to your mastery over self and alignment with divine timing. Coming up in just a moment, the part most people never reach, the hidden agreement that has been feeding the delay from the inside. Stay with me, because this is the part that breaks the cycle. But before we fully unravel that profound truth, you need to deeply understand the seismic impact your restraint actually had on the spiritual level, in realms unseen by the natural eye. When you made that conscious, courageous choice not to send that impulsive message, not to engage in the familiar cycle of reaction, something profoundly significant shifted in the very atmosphere surrounding this divine connection. A shift so subtle, yet so potent, that you do not yet possess the natural eyes to fully perceive its magnitude, nor the ears to hear the angelic repositioning it inspired. There is a sacred, unwavering principle in the kingdom of heaven, an immutable law of spiritual physics that declares with divine authority, the one who can masterfully hold their peace, who can maintain an inner sanctuary of calm amidst the storm of the moment of greatest provocation, is unequivocally the one who inherits the desired outcome. This inheritance is not granted to the one who argues their case with the most eloquent words, nor to the one who crafts the strongest, most logically irrefutable argument, nor to the one who marshals the most compelling evidence. No, the inheritance belongs to the one who can remain profoundly still, who can anchor themselves in unwavering peace when every single nerve ending, every ingrained habit, every external pressure, every emotional trigger is fiercely demanding immediate, often chaotic movement. Proverbs 16:32 articulates this profound spiritual wisdom with striking clarity and undeniable power. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. You did not merely exercise a fleeting moment of patience, a temporary forbearance. By choosing stillness, by ruling your spirit, you took far more than a city. You took significant spiritual territory. The very ground you mistakenly thought you were passively losing or abandoning by choosing to stay quiet and refrain from outward action is the exact divinely appointed ground that heaven was actively, meticulously paving, preparing, and solidifying for your triumphant entry, while you patiently, powerfully waited in faith. You were not retreating, you were advancing in the Spirit. Now, once you truly grasp that profound paradigm-shifting truth, once it becomes a settled conviction within your spirit, you are truly ready for the next layer of revelation, for it will illuminate the hidden dynamics of your connection. Because here is where we absolutely must talk about what has been happening, often entirely unseen by you, on the other side of that profound and purposeful silence. Your person, contrary to the deceptive whispers of doubt and the enemy's cunning psychological warfare, has absolutely not been unaffected. That, my dear friend, is the most insidious lie the enemy desperately needs you to believe, that your stillness has been utterly invisible to them, that your calculated, strategic absence from the noise has been wrongly interpreted by them as cold indifference, that the quieter you have become, the more completely and irrevocably forgotten you are in their heart and mind. But that is fundamentally not how authentic divine connections, forged in the very fabric of heaven, operate. When two souls are spiritually tethered, bound by a sacred, unbreakable cord that transcends the limitations of the physical realm, silence does not, in fact, create distance between them. Instead, it creates a profound, palpable weight. It cultivates an undeniable energetic presence that presses into the spirit of the other. Every single day that passes without the familiar noise of anxious reaction, without the distracting static of argument, without the constant exhausting push and pull that keeps two people utterly depleted, emotionally frayed, and perpetually distracted from the true, sacred essence of their connection. Every one of those precious, silent days deposits something uniquely powerful, something deeply resonant, something profoundly transformative into the spirit of your person that no amount of mere conversation, no volleys of words could ever hope to deliver. They are feeling you in the quiet. Not your carefully chosen words, not your reasoned arguments, not your overt efforts. No, they are feeling your spiritual weight, your undeniable gravitas, your enduring presence, even in your physical absence. And that profound, silent feeling, that undeniable energetic imprint, is doing a deep, transformative work within them that no amount of forced conversation, no human persuasion, no external pressure could have ever possibly achieved. It is a quiet, internal revolution. And what is coming next, this next layer of revelation, will likely surprise you, perhaps even profoundly, because it invariably does at this pivotal point in the journey of understanding. What has been unfolding behind the veil of silence, within the very core of your person, is a profound and unavoidable confrontation. But crucially, understand this. It is not a confrontation with you. No, this is an intensely personal, deeply intimate confrontation with themselves. There is an undeniable truth about how they authentically feel, about what their soul truly desires, about what they have, for perhaps too long, been deeply afraid to consciously admit, even to themselves. And your strategic, sacred silence has, with divine precision, systematically removed every single distraction, every convenient excuse, every protective shield they had been skillfully employing to avoid facing that uncomfortable, yet ultimately liberating truth. As long as there was constant noise between you, as long as there was an external trigger to react to, something to argue about, a never-ending cycle of issues to dissect and process, their awareness could comfortably, defensively, stay confined within the logical, analytical space of their head. But your profound stillness, your unwavering silent presence, has powerfully, irrevocably, forced them to descend from the intellectual battlefield of the mind and into the undeniable, vulnerable, intuitive space of their chest, into the very seat of their emotions, their core desires, their deepest, most authentic self. And what profoundly lives in the chest, the undeniable truth of the heart, is infinitely harder to argue with, to rationalize away, or to suppress than anything that merely originates from the mind. They are not, in the truest sense, running from you, though it may feel that way from the surface. No, they are undergoing an internal navigation. They are running, often unconsciously, towards something deep within themselves that they have not yet found the courage, the inner resolve, or the safe space to articulately say out loud. And every single day that you consciously choose to hold your peace, to anchor yourself in that powerful, quiet strength, you are, paradoxically, making it exponentially safer, more inviting, and more possible for them to finally find that courage, to step into their own truth, and ultimately, to voice what their heart truly yearns to express. Your stillness is creating their pathway. But let me now challenge you with something even more profound. something that delves into the deepest recesses of your own belief system. Because this message, for all its beauty and liberating truth, would be tragically incomplete if I allowed you to comfortably, complacently sit solely in the radiant beauty of that external truth, without unflinchingly addressing what lies, perhaps subtly beneath it, within your own spiritual foundation. There is a silent, insidious agreement you may have been unknowingly carrying, perhaps for years, stretching back even longer than this particular connection has even existed in your conscious awareness. It is an unwritten, deeply embedded contract that subtly yet powerfully dictates that you somehow have to earn what God, in His infinite wisdom and boundless grace, has already irrevocably assigned to you before your very first breath. It is an agreement that whispers the lie that you must continually prove your inherent worth through prolonged suffering, through arduous struggle, through a never-ending gauntlet of trials. It is a belief that subtly suggests the length of your waiting, the duration of your endurance, is somehow directly proportional to your intrinsic value, implying that the longer you painstakingly wait, the more deserving, the more righteous you mysteriously become. On the surface, this agreement might masquerade as profound humility or appear to be an admirable demonstration of unwavering faith. But let me declare with absolute spiritual clarity, it is neither. It is, in its true essence, a deep, unhealed wound, cleverly disguised and wearing the deceptive costume of virtue. And this insidious agreement has been quietly, unconsciously training you, conditioning your spirit to expect delay as the natural, inevitable condition of receiving your blessings, to feel a profound sense of suspicion, even discomfort, when things unexpectedly move too easily or too smoothly in your life. It has subtly primed you to, perhaps unconsciously, self-sabotage in the very moments of greatest proximity to breakthrough, when the promise is almost within your grasp, precisely because, somewhere deep within the foundation of your being, in a place often untouched by conscious thought, you decided that people like you, with your unique story and past, simply do not get to experience the uncomplicated, straightforward, joyously simple version of the divine promise. You believe you must earn it through the fire, even when grace has already paid the price. Here, then, is the part you most likely did not expect, the profound twist in the narrative that shifts the entire internal landscape of your understanding. The true, often hidden thing that has been consistently lengthening the distance in your connection, that has been silently perpetuating the cycles of separation, is ultimately not the external enemy, with all his cunning schemes and dark orchestrations. It is not irrevocably rooted in your past mistakes, nor in the painful, unalterable circumstances of your history. It is not even primarily the mistakes, real or perceived, that you made within this particular connection. No, the most significant architect of delay has been a far more intimate, often unseen force. It is that persistent part of you that has not yet fully, authentically, and wholeheartedly believed you are truly allowed to have this divine connection, this promised blessing, without it demanding a cost from you that feels far greater than you can possibly afford to pay. The enemy, with all his malevolent intent, is therefore not the primary architect of your protracted delay. He is rather an opportunistic squatter. Your own unexamined, deeply ingrained agreement with unworthiness, with the subtle belief that you must suffer to receive, has been leaving a perpetually open door in the very fortress of your soul, a spiritual vulnerability that he has simply been walking through, exploiting your own internal narrative of lack and insufficiency. And until you courageously and decisively revoke that agreement, not just intellectually understanding its falsehood, not just in the superficial language of fleeting affirmations, but in the deepest bones of who you profoundly understand yourself to be, in the very core of your identity, that sacred threshold, that boundary between the wilderness and the promised land, will continue inexplicably to feel like an impenetrable, unyielding wall, keeping you perpetually on the outside looking in. This, then, is the precise pivotal moment where everything, absolutely everything, breaks open. Because the instant you consciously, decisively, and with unwavering spiritual authority close that long-standing, unexamined door of unworthiness, the very moment you choose to stand, rooted and unshakable, in the full, magnificent weight of what heaven has already irrevocably declared over your life and your divinely ordained connection. Not as a distant aspirational goal you are perpetually striving and working toward, but as a living, breathing reality you are already inhabiting and living inside of. That is the precise, breathtaking moment the entire spiritual atmosphere around you and your connection shifts permanently. Not eventually, when some arbitrary external condition is met. Not when all the intricate circumstances miraculously align themselves in perfect synchronicity. No, it shifts now, instantly, from the deepest core of your being outward. That, my friends, is the profound, counterintuitive way the kingdom of heaven operates. It does not passively wait for external confirmation, for visible evidence, or for human permission before it initiates its transformative, mighty move. Rather, it moves powerfully, unstoppably, and with divine acceleration through the person who has become so deeply, so unshakably rooted in their true, heaven-assigned identity that they are no longer shaken, no longer moved, no longer defined by the fleeting illusions of silence, distance, or delay. Their inner knowing becomes the catalyst for their outer reality. And so, before this sacred, pivotal moment passes you by, before you carry even a single iota of doubt or unworthiness into the next hour or the next day of your magnificent life, I invite you to place your hand right now firmly on your chest, over the beating heart of your truth, and speak these potent words out loud. Speak them not as a tentative wish, a hopeful desire, or a fragile request. Speak them as an unwavering, divinely empowered verdict, a declaration that resonates with the authority heaven has already invested within you. I release every agreement I have made with unworthiness. I break every lie I have believed about the cost of my blessing. I declare that what heaven assigned to my life cannot be revoked by silence, by distance, by confusion, or by delay. I am not waiting to be chosen. I was chosen before the foundations of the earth were laid. The connection heaven ordained for my life is not damaged. It is developing. And I will not mourn what is in process as though it were lost. I walk forward today as someone who already possesses what they are still waiting to see. I am not desperate. I am not diminished. I am not behind. I am exactly where the Most High placed me, and from this ground nothing moves me. The door is open. The verdict has been read. And I receive right now everything that was written in my name before I was born. It is done.